Hello friends, in this video we will rapidly revise some very important points from the thorax. So let's begin. So in thorax the true ribs are first 7 ribs, false ribs are 8 to 10. They join the above costal cartilage, and the 11 and 12 are called as free floating ribs. Okay. So the first 7 are true ribs, and they are called as true ribs because they form sternocostal joint. Okay, and these false ribs are 8 to 12 because they join the above costal cartilage in order to connect to the sternum. Okay, and 11 and 12 ribs are called as floating ribs. Then joints in the thoracic cavity. So most of the joints in the thoracic cavity are synovial joints. These are interchondral joints, sternocostal joint, costovertebral joint, and costotransverse joint. Exceptions to these plain synovial joints are the first sternocostal joint, that is synarthrosis, and this is a fibrous joint. This first sternocostal joint is not a plain synovial joint, it's a synarthrosis. Then interchondral joint. So interchondral joints are also plain synovial joints except the joint between 9th rib and 10th rib. Okay, so it is between 9th and 10th. Then manubriosternal and zipisternal joint. So this manubriosternal and zipisternal, these are secondary cartilaginous joints. Then the costochondral joints, these are primary cartilaginous joints. So these costochondral joints, these are primary cartilaginous joints. Okay. Then first rib relations. So here medial to lateral, the first rib relations are, the mnemonic is SWAN, or you can call it SWAN. So these are sympathetic trunk, posterior intercostal, that is vein, artery and nerve. So here are the relations: sympathetic trunk, posterior intercostal vein, superior intercostal artery, and T1, that is nerve, from medial to lateral. Okay. Then this scalene tubercle, it is present between the two grooves on the first rib, and this scalene tubercle marks the attachment of scalenus anterior, and this scalene tubercle is a feature of first rib. So here these are the two grooves. This is an anterior groove, this is a posterior groove, this is a posterior groove, and this is scalene tubercle, and this scalene tubercle marks the attachment of scalenus anterior. Okay, here, and the contents are, and the attachment on this first rib are here. This is costoclavicular ligament, this is subclavius muscle, this scalenus anterior, this scalenus medius, this is attachment of the serratus anterior. Okay. Then from the anterior groove there passes the subclavian vein, and from the posterior groove there is subclavian artery. Okay. So, and brachial plexus, this is brachial plexus lower trunk, that is T1. Then attachment we have seen: subclavius, scalenus anterior, that is on scalene tubercle, scalenus medius, first digitation of serratus anterior here, then costoclavicular ligament here, then Simpson's fascia, that is called as suprapleural membrane. So here it is attached. It is attached on the anteriorly on the inner surface of the first rib, inner border of the first rib, and posteriorly to the anterior border of transverse process of C7 vertebra. So this is a C7 vertebra, so it is attached on the anterior border. Okay, and the Simpson's fascia is also called as suprapleural membrane. Okay. Then intercostal space relationships. So in intercostal space relation, these structures arranged are, the mnemonic is VAN, from above downwards. These are vein, artery and nerve. So here intercostal vein, intercostal artery and intercostal nerve. Okay, this is the typical presentation of the structures in the intercostal space, and these structures are present like below the surface of the rib, like if these are the two ribs, these structures are situated here, and hence whenever the intercostal drain is put, it is put above the rib, like upper surface of the rib, never below, because these structures are present here. Okay, and this is typically present in all the ribs except the first rib. Here the arrangement of the structure is from medial to lateral, that we have seen S. Van mnemonic. Okay, then attachments to the then articulations of the rib with vertebrae. So the joints are costovertebral joint and costotransverse joint. So costovertebral joint is the rib to the vertebral body, and costotransverse is the rib to the transverse process of vertebra. Then here for the first 2 to 9 ribs, the joints are like this. Head of the rib attaches to the inferior facet of the above vertebra. Like if the rib is 7th, then this head of the rib attaches to the inferior costal surface, that is T6, and it is attaches to the superior costal facet of the same corresponding vertebra, that is T7, and the transverse process of the corresponding vertebra attaches to the rib tubercle here, and this is for the 2 to 9 ribs. Okay, so for the 2 to 9 ribs, head of the rib, inferior costal facet of the above vertebral body, head of the rib, superior costal facet of the corresponding vertebral body, and the tubercle is from to the transverse process of the corresponding vertebral body. But for the 1st and 10th rib, these are atypical ribs, and here the head of the rib is corresponding to the vertebral body, tubercle of the rib, transverse process of the corresponding vertebral body. And for the 11th and 12th rib, there is only one articulation, that is head of the rib to the corresponding vertebral body. Okay, now articulations of ribs with sternum. So at sternum we have already seen there is first to 7 ribs, they are called as true ribs, and these are directly articulated with single costal cartilage, like individually they are attached, to the sternum with costal cartilage. Then for the false ribs, like 8 to 12, so first 8 to 10, like 8, 9 and 10 ribs, they are false ribs articulated with common cartilage, like the above costal cartilage they join and then it connects to the sternum. But for the 11th and 12th false ribs, these are also called as floating ribs because they do not articulate with sternum. Then important surface landmarks. So this C7 marks the lower extent of the ligamentum nuchae. So the lower extent of the ligamentum nuchae is by C7. Then T2 marks the superior angle of the scapula. Okay, so superior angle of the scapula is T2. T3 is root of the spine of the scapula. So T3 here, this is root of the spine, it is spine of the scapula. Then T7, inferior angle of the scapula. Then T12 is the point of, it is the midpoint between the angle line from inferior angle of the scapula to the iliac crest. It marks the midpoint. Okay, it marks the midpoint between these two. So this T12 spinal process marks the midpoint between these two. Okay, so it is the midpoint of the vertical line drawn from the inferior angle of scapula to the iliac crest. Then L4 is the highest point on the iliac crest. So this L4 is the highest point on the iliac crest, and this S2 marks the posterior superior iliac spine. Okay, posterior superior iliac spine. Then spinous processes in thoracic vertebrae. So in thoracic vertebrae lie at the level of the vertebral body below. So spinous process of the T3 lies at the level of T4, and in lumbar and sacral regions the spinous processes correspond to the same vertebral level. For example, the L2 spinous process will belong to the L2 vertebral body only. So this was all about the basics and very IMP topics from the thorax. Thank you.